The morning sun spilled across the chrome edges of Maplewood Diner, a place where the smell of butter and syrup usually promised warmth and comfort. But on this particular day, the light couldn't erase the darkness that crept into the hearts of a few cruel boys. At a booth near the window sat a girl in a wheelchair, her plate of pancakes resting in front of her like a fragile shield against the world. Her name was Clara, and though her face carried the quiet strength of someone who had endured much, her trembling hands betrayed her unease. The boys at the next booth didn't just laugh at her. They crossed a line that should never be crossed. One of them slapped the plate from her lap, sending the food crashing to the tiled floor, and another pushed her wheelchair back with a mocking shove. The diner froze. The laughter of the bullies rang louder than the clatter of falling plates. Clara's eyes welled with tears. She tried so hard to hold back, but humiliation burned hotter than pain. If you believe that kindness should always conquer cruelty, that second chances matter, and that no one deserves to be treated this way, take a moment right now to like this video, comment, share it with others, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Together, we can remind the world that compassion is stronger than hate. Clara's life had never been easy. She was born with a spinal condition that left her reliant on a wheelchair, but her parents always told her that her spirit was meant to soar, even if her legs could not. She clung to that belief, though the world often seemed determined to crush it. Every day, she faced quiet stares, whispered remarks, or the pitying smiles of strangers who couldn't imagine her life. But what she faced that morning in the diner went far beyond pity. It was cruelty sharp enough to wound the soul. As the boys jeered, others in the diner lowered their heads. Some shook their heads in disapproval but did nothing. The waitress, her hands full of coffee cups, froze in the aisle, fear etched on her face. Clara bent down awkwardly, trying to gather her pancakes with trembling hands, desperate not to make more of a scene. That's when another hand reached down, not rough, not mocking, but gentle. An older man, gray at the temples, quietly picked up the plate and set it back in front of her. "Don't mind them," he whispered, but his eyes darted nervously toward the gang of teenagers. The man's kindness was a small candle flickering in a room full of shadows, but Clara still felt exposed, broken in ways no one could see. She sat quietly after that, her appetite gone, her throat tight with unspoken words. She wanted to ask why the world worked this way, why people thought it was acceptable to torment those who were different. Her heart thudded in her chest with each burst of laughter from the bullies, who now bragged loudly about their bravery, oblivious to the cruelty of their actions. Clara closed her eyes and prayed for the hour to pass quickly, for the nightmare to end. An hour later, something unexpected happened, something that shifted the entire energy of the diner. It began as a low rumble, almost like thunder. Heads turned toward the wide glass windows as the sound grew louder, more distinct. Dozens of motorcycles rolled into the parking lot, their chrome glinting under the daylight. The sight alone was enough to make conversations hush and forks freeze in midair. The unmistakable insignia of the Hells Angels was emblazoned on their leather jackets as they parked in a perfect line, engines growling like an approaching storm. The bullies, who just moments ago carried themselves with arrogance, suddenly grew restless. Their smirks faltered. Everyone knew the reputation of the Hells Angels, fierce, fearless, and unafraid to stand their ground. When the door of the diner swung open, the bell jingled softly, but the silence that followed was louder than anything. A towering man with a beard and steel-hard eyes walked in, his vest heavy with patches. Behind him came another, and then another, until the diner felt smaller, its air charged with tension. Clara's eyes widened, her pulse racing with both fear and wonder. The man at the front scanned the room, his gaze sharp as it swept over the bullies. Then his eyes softened when they landed on Clara. It was as though he understood everything without a single word being spoken. He stepped closer, his boots heavy on the tiled floor, and knelt beside her. For the first time since that morning, Clara didn't feel small. She felt seen. Protected. The leader, whose name was Rourke, turned his head slowly toward the bullies. They sat frozen, pale faces betraying their guilt. No one dared laugh now. Rourke's voice was low, steady, but powerful enough to cut through the silence. Though Clara couldn't hear his exact words, she saw the shame wash over the bullies' faces as their bravado melted away. One by one, they slid out of the booth and stumbled toward the exit, heads lowered, avoiding every gaze. They didn't dare meet Clara's eyes again. Outside, the motorcycles formed a wall of steel and leather, ensuring the boys' humiliation was complete before they fled. But Rourke didn't stop there. He called over the waitress, placed a large bill on the table, and told her to bring Clara anything she wanted: pancakes, milkshake, pie, the whole menu if she liked. He told her she was stronger than any of the cowards who had tried to break her spirit. Then, in a gesture no one in that diner would ever forget, he removed his own leather vest, draped it gently across Clara's shoulders, and told her she was now family. Tears streamed down Clara's face, not tears of humiliation, but tears of gratitude. In that single hour, her life had shifted. What began as a morning of pain became a moment of profound transformation. She realized kindness can come from unexpected places, and that sometimes the fiercest-looking people carried the softest hearts. The diner erupted in quiet applause, some patrons wiping tears from their eyes. The waitress hugged Clara, promising her that she'd never again sit in that diner feeling invisible. For the first time in a long time, Clara felt a surge of hope. She realized that though cruelty existed, so did courage, and sometimes strangers could step in to rewrite the ending of your story. If this story has touched your heart and reminded you that kindness can rise even in the most unlikely of places, please take a moment to like this video, share it with friends, subscribe to Kindness Corner, and leave a comment below. Your support helps us continue spreading stories that inspire and heal. Before we end, I have one special request. Comment below what you would have done if you were in that diner that day. Would you have stood up for Clara? Your words might inspire someone else to act with courage when the moment comes.
When we talk about animal life, few comparisons spark as much curiosity and emotion as the contrast between a cat's life and a dog's life. Both animals have lived beside humans for thousands of years, yet the way they experience the world feels completely different. A cat moves through life like a quiet philosopher, while a dog charges through it like an eager companion. These differences are not just about behavior. They reflect two very different ways of surviving, bonding, and finding meaning in daily existence. A cat's life is built around independence. From the moment a kitten opens its eyes, it begins learning how to rely on itself. Cats are natural hunters, and even in the comfort of a home, their instincts remain sharp. They observe silently, calculate patiently, and act only when the moment feels right. A cat does not rush to please. It chooses when and how to interact. This sense of control defines much of a cat's world. When a cat sleeps, it is not laziness but preparation. When it ignores a call, it is not disobedience but a statement of choice. In a cat's life, freedom is not optional. It is essential. A dog's life, on the other hand, is centered on connection. Dogs are pack animals by nature, and their survival historically depended on cooperation. This instinct still shapes their modern lives. A dog looks to humans not just for food or shelter, but for guidance, approval, and companionship. Where a cat may see itself as an equal sharing space with humans, a dog often sees itself as part of a team. This is why a dog's happiness seems tied so closely to its owner's mood. A smile, a pat, or a simple word of praise can define an entire day for a dog. Its life gains meaning through service, loyalty, and shared experience. The daily rhythm of a cat's life is quiet and controlled. Cats prefer routines they set themselves. They explore their environment carefully, memorizing every corner, sound, and scent. A small change in furniture can catch their attention for days. Cats value personal space deeply, and their affection is subtle. A slow blink, a gentle head rub, choosing to sit nearby rather than on someone's lap are powerful expressions of trust. In a cat's life, love is not loud. It is deliberate. In contrast, a dog's daily life is full of visible emotion. Dogs greet mornings with excitement and evenings with relief. Walks are adventures, not just exercise. Every sound at the door is a possibility. Every returning owner a moment of celebration. Dogs express affection openly, through wagging tails, jumps, licks, and constant presence. They want to be involved in everything, even if they do not fully understand it. A dog's life is shaped by shared routines, and it thrives on predictability provided by others rather than by itself. Social behavior further highlights the difference. Cats are selective with relationships. They may coexist peacefully with humans and other animals, but they rarely depend on them emotionally in the same way dogs do. A cat can form deep bonds, but it keeps a part of itself reserved. This emotional distance is not coldness, it is self-preservation. In the wild, a cat that relied too much on others would not survive. That instinct remains strong even in the safest home. Dogs, however, are emotionally open. They seek reassurance and companionship. A dog left alone for long periods can experience stress or sadness, not because it lacks independence, but because its nature is social. Dogs read human emotions with remarkable accuracy. They sense fear, joy, anger, and sadness, often responding before a word is spoken. A dog's life is deeply intertwined with the emotional world of humans, making it a powerful companion, but also a vulnerable one. Even the way cats and dogs face challenges shows their contrasting lives. When a cat encounters a problem, it retreats, observes, and adapts quietly. Stress may cause a cat to hide, become distant, or change habits subtly. A dog faced with stress often reacts outwardly. It may bark, whine, pace, or seek comfort from its owner. One turns inward, the other reaches outward. Neither approach is better. They are simply different strategies shaped by evolution. Training also reflects these lifestyles. Dogs are generally eager to learn commands because training strengthens their bond with humans. Obedience is not submission alone, it is cooperation. A trained dog feels secure knowing its role. Cats, however, do not respond well to command-based training. They can learn behaviors, but only when it suits their interest. A cat learns through curiosity, not obligation. This difference often leads people to misunderstand cats as stubborn, when in reality they are simply self-directed.